This manga broke me. This manga brought out emotions and memories that had been tucked away in the furthest corner of my mind, pulled out to the surface against my will, leaving me both vulnerable and afraid. And somehow, despite it all, when I turned the last page, I felt more determined than ever before. Friends, let's take a look at possibly the most poetic manga ever written. After the Rain follows the story of Akira Tachibana, a high school student who works at a part-time family restaurant. And it's in this restaurant where she begins to develop a relationship with someone unexpectedly, her manager, Masami Kondo, a 45-year-old divorcee with a young son. Now, before we get our pitchforks and Chris Hansen's ready and go after the author, FBI, open up! Let's delve into the story and begin right where everything started. The story kicks off by introducing Tachibana as a leader of her school's track team, a sport that she has loved since a little girl. And it shows that she has set records for her school and is looked up to by her underclassmen. All things were bright for Tachibana when all of a sudden it began to rain. You see, Tachibana is forced to withdraw from the club following a major injury to her ankle. Stripped from what she loves, Tachibana finds herself wandering all the time, lost in thought and lost in the rain. And in perhaps the lowest point of her life, someone unexpectedly lifts her up by simply offering nothing more than a coffee and a smile.
頼んでませんけど。
サービスです。ただ雨が止むのを待っているだけじゃつまらないでしょ。きっとすぐ止みますよ。
Following that moment, Tachibana begins working at that very restaurant. Here, she makes friends and not friends with some of her coworkers. More importantly, she slowly but surely makes her way into the life of the manager, as a certain incident brings them closer together. An incident as simple as a customer leaving their phone behind. Believing she could catch up to him, Tachibana snatches the phone from the manager and sprints in his direction. In spectacular fashion, we, alongside the manager, see just how talented of a runner she is, as she's able to catch up to the customer, only to be suddenly surprised by her sudden collapse. Feeling the weight of his employee being injured, the manager calls Tachibana asking her if she's okay. Most notably, he asks her to save his number and call in case she needs anything. This decision, unbeknownst to him, would spark the complex relationship between him and his 17-year-old employee. Unequivocally, the following day, they will run into each other. Offering Tachibana a treat as a token of apology, we finally get to see the first real moment between these two characters. With no outside pressures from work, they both drop their guards and show one another their personalities. And in that very moment, without a second thought, Tachibana reveals how she feels. Oof, okay, so it turns out the manager is an absolute oblivious goof and thought nothing of it. Despite it, Tachibana would not back down and would ensure he knew she meant business. With all roads forcing the manager to address the situation, for the first time, the author places us in the manager's mind, enabling us to see and feel exactly what he is experiencing.
汗で張り付くワイシャツの襟、そして自分のことを好きだという17歳の女の子。
After momentarily lost in the attempt to reconcile with an emotion he has not felt in ages, the manager comes to his senses as he tries to ward off Tachibana, revealing to her that even if they were to go on a date, he would just creep her out. Alas, he has sealed the deal for Tachibana, as all she heard was the fact that he would go on a date with her. On the date of the date, there was something that caught me off guard. Something that went beyond the typical first date type of things, like the feeling of butterflies you get when you're close to the person you like. That something was the internal moments of thought from the manager, as he reflected on his past and realized from the interactions with Tachibana that he misses his youth. Believing that he had done his job and showed Tachibana a bad time, the manager parted ways, only for once again for Tachibana to all of a sudden sprint off. But this time around, it was not to deliver a forgotten phone, but instead deliver in physical form how she felt exactly. Yo, can I go to jail for watching this? More and more, as time passes, they grow closer to one another. With each scene, with each interaction, their relationship grows, cultivating exponentially as Tachibana continually finds ways to insert herself further into the life of the manager. From helping his son learn how to play an instrument, to even taking him to his favorite bookstore, where she learns he was once an inspiring author and has a deep love for literature. A love so deep that if there was a book in front of his nose, it was almost as if the world around him didn't exist. So much so that he forgot he was with Tachibana actually. Feeling guilty, the manager apologizes for his behavior, after which we discover that his quest to become an author was negatively received by someone. That someone being his ex-wife, as his desire and passion to be an author was the root cause of their divorce. Knowing this, it makes the following scene all the more impactful as Tachibana reveals to the manager that the very fact that he's able to lose himself in something he loves so much is the very reason she adores him.
本当に飛ぶことを諦めたツバメはきっと空を見上げることも忘れてしまうでしょうから。店長の書く小説きっと好きです。
許されたいなんてそんな大げさなことじゃない。けれどずっと誰かに言ってほしかった。それでもいいと。ありがとう。
I can't tell you how much this scene hurts me to watch. One of the most difficult things we struggle with in life are relationships. Not too long ago, I was in a relationship where I constantly felt like I couldn't be myself, where I had to behave a certain way or it would upset the other person. So much so, it would result in emotional and verbal abuse. Over time, I began to feel guilty about the person I was. Less and less, I felt loved by the very person who I wanted nothing more than their love and affection. And more, I began to lose myself. Words like that, words of someone who not only accepts you for who you are, but is even in love with you because of it. Words that may not have been directed at me, but words that I needed to hear more now than ever before. And upon hearing her response, for the manager, nothing ever would be the same. Hey guys, I really wish I could talk about the entire show, but it would honestly make this video way too long. Regardless, I hope I gave you good enough details to entice you to either pick up the manga or watch the anime. And I mean, if you want to know if they're hooked up or not, you gotta watch the show. But in all seriousness, I love slice of life animes. I have like a huge soft spot when it comes to like love stories. So hopefully in the future, I'll be able to talk more about like slice of life animes. So until next one, guys, bye.